Hello. Okay. We're live. This is day 3 of 30 days of going live. And it is late where I am. And I'm here in Florida. And as you can see, I am having some resistance to doing the 30 days. Yeah. My human design is a manifesting generator, and so we don't like to do the same things all the time. If you're a manifesting generator, give me a shout out and let me know how you feel about having to do the same thing all the time. Hey, hi there. And but I am committed. So even though it's late, I am here and grateful to be here. And I don't have a full agenda, except that I had a download during a healing session that I need to go live for 30 days in a row on social media. And so, as I said in my previous videos, if there's one thing that I've learned on my path is to listen to my intuition when it comes through, especially when it comes through that clearly. So, but I've been going through some stuff, and that makes me not want to go live. I typically only like to go live when I am in the springtime of my journey or the summertime. And yeah, and things are not bad right now. It's just that I am processing some big things. Anyway, with that being said, here I am doing it anyway because I am devoted to keep my word. So as I sat, I'm here in the bed, and as I sat before turning it on, I asked what would be highest and best to talk about tonight. And I asked, I asked it to, what should I share that would serve people the most? And then it came to me to also let it serve me. And I'm not sure who's going to see this video, but those of you that also work in the healing arts, we like to serve, right? We are here to help create the new world that is of love, that is of light. And one of the things that we get to also remember is that we also get to receive. And so, and I'm a very big proponent of receiving. It's not that I don't receive. One of my biggest teachings is about self-care, right? Was like the first online challenge I ever did was the 5-day self-care challenge. And so that's not foreign to me. But when I'm serving, whether I'm giving a Reiki session, intuitive feedback session, channeling, card reading, I'm always thinking about serving, of course, the other person. But tonight, the idea was, can this also serve me? And it brought me back to a medicine ceremony that I was in. And at the time, I was channeling previous generations. Let me just take a deep breath before I share this. We're going deep really fast tonight. So what came through at that time was that I became this space for previous generations to speak through me. And it lasted, I'm not actually sure how long because I didn't have my phone with me, but it lasted a really long time. That other generations were speaking through me. And that was in my third ceremony at the time. And when I left, after all was said and done, I realized, well, what, I didn't feel like that I fully received, right? Because I was opening up my space to serve. Yeah, it seems like this 30-30 thing is having me go in and kind of challenge all of the things that I've always thought to be true, right? Like last video was about speaking your truth, and then the things I've learned about when it's actually smart to not. And so some of these videos might not be very popular. That's okay. Also, so tonight, what came through right before coming on was about when we serve, can we also receive, right? So as a Reiki master, when I am giving Reiki, the way we were trained was that we are also automatically receiving healing as we're giving. I've known for years, even before I was any type of coach, that if I was helping my friends move through an issue, I always felt better about myself. It just gave me joy to see that my feedback had somebody's light turn on, and it gave them a shift. And so, yeah, there is a mutual receiving. I think that as we become more conscious, then can we still do that, right? So at the time, I wasn't thinking about it. It just made me happy. And I know that when I look into my students' eyes or look at my client's face, and when I see them receive whatever medicine that I am serving to them, and it shifts them, that lightens my heart. And it also reminds me of, how I got here. So, and it makes me really happy. So maybe what I'm going to do is back up a little bit and share where I've come from. Although I don't remember if I already shared that in another video. It is late and I am tired. But, yeah. I'm going to hold off on that for the moment. When I came on tonight, the first thing that came through was about giving and receiving, and about, can I serve a message that will come through for people in a way that feels good for them and then also feels good for me. After yesterday's video, to be quite vulnerable, I didn't feel that great. I knew I was sharing something that still has some sort of charge for me a little bit. So I think that's where I get to kind of be mindful about what I share, right? So that, hey honey, good to see you guys. Want to make sure that I'm sharing with things that I'm no longer charged on. And, but I will share this about where I'm at this moment in time. I've healed so many things, from physical things and emotional things, spiritual things, I guess you would say. And I could share a little bit about that. But I'm losing my train of thought. I apologize. This is why in my classes I have notes. All right. The reason why I dedicated myself to this 30-30 is because of my experiences and the things that I've had to share. And I would like to share them. And I can see that as I'm talking about my personal stuff, it makes me start to I don't feel overwhelmed. It's more like I kind of have too many thoughts coming in, and then I can't decide what to speak on first. And it makes me feel kind of, oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I do channel. And when I'm talking about my own personal stuff, it makes me feel very different. It gets me out of the channel. But what I am getting is to share a little bit more about my journey. So it's a little bit easier when I'm doing my own group program or when I'm in my Facebook group because it's isolated. And so, but we're going to go for it because this is my guidance. And so I got into health and wellness at a very early age. It just always made me happy to learn about how to take care of my body. It was generational for me. My great-grandmother was very into health and wellness before there was even before TV was even invented. She would sit in front of the radio with my grandmother and her sisters, and they would listen to a health show about nutrition and wellness. And so it's in my blood. And so I can remember as early as, obviously as a little kid, just being taught to eat vegetables, and you don't have to eat the whole thing, you just have to taste it. And so very basic, and I always liked vegetables, which already made me feel very different in this world. I've always felt very different, which I think is what holds me back sometimes from sharing, because I feel like an alien here sometimes. But even as a little kid, I liked vegetables. Spinach was my favorite vegetable. And I didn't want to tell anybody because most kids hated spinach. And so what I realized later is what a blessing it was that I actually liked vegetables and ate them all. And so anyway, as I became a teenager, I started studying, different ways to exercise. And back then we were studying calories, which now, as trained as an integrative nutrition health coach, I've never led anybody to their health journey through calories. But anyway, at the time I was, and I learned that individual exercise was really good for me, like running and walking and eventually yoga, things like that. Anything competitive for me was no good. Anyway, my health journey continued. When I was 15, I was taken to the doctor because I was having a lot of tummy issues. I always had tummy issues, and I'm going to jump forward. So what I learned about back then is the connection between your emotions and your body, right? So at the time, I was just living, right? And I lived in a very difficult household, difficult situation, which I might share in another video, but right now it's irrelevant. But the point is that it was a difficult situation. I was the oldest of 4 kids, and I took it upon myself to protect my siblings. And so I think I internalized a lot because I was not the type of oldest child to, use my voice. I really just kind of put myself in the line of fire. And that was my way of protecting, what I used to call the kids. I used to call my siblings the kids. And so from there I developed a lot of digestive issues. Of course, I wasn't, it was difficult to digest life, which now I see the correlation. Also, I used to get strep throat at least 4 times a year until they took my tonsils out, right? Because if I wasn't speaking my truth, it was all in here. And then my tonsils held it and held it and held it until they got pulled out. So eventually, later on, the doctor's things helped a little bit, right? They developed Lactaid and things like that, and I was on trend with whatever. And then later on, in my 20s, I think, or my 30s, I worked with my first health coach, and I learned so much. And I started to really learn through my health coach, also through studying Louise Hay. Those of you that don't know her, please go look her up. She was the queen, the beginning of affirmations, and she healed herself of cancer, and she was the first one that wrote the book on You Can Heal Your Life, where you can see the correlation between your emotions and your body. So through that journey, I started to learn. Of course, I had strep throat because I wasn't speaking up. Of course, I had digestive issues. And as I learned that with nutrition and with the mindset, I healed my body. And there was several other things that had happened later. As far as a histamine issue and a thyroid issue. And every time the healing came with a little bit through conventional medicine, but the majority of it came through the mindset and what was going on in my life that caused it to happen. And then I came back into balance, which led me into training to be a health coach. But I never fully resonated with being a health coach, the title, because my spiritual path was growing so much and my intuition was opening up in major ways. My clairaudience came online in a very big way, and I learned how to channel through my journaling practice, journaling with my opposite hand. I was starting to channel, and I made some pretty big life changes. It's too much for a live right now to explain all this. But anyway, my practice turned into more of an intuitive coaching practice, which has been really hard to describe. And until you're in it, it's very difficult to describe. But what I've helped people do was to get in touch with their intuition the way I was in touch with mine. And really, it's about trusting it and then expanding it, because we all have intuition. But what's been very humbling is that as new layers have come up around some old traumas and some new memories of old traumas, I started to feel like my intuition, my superpower, was starting to get blocked. And that was really like crazy, because I've always been able to, come back to it. And so it's been a very interesting path. But what it's had me do is to come back to some of the basics from the beginning, right? Going back to the body, right? Because so many of us, we naturally live from here up, right? We live from here up. We're thinking all the time. We have repeat thoughts. And many of us do have intuition where we connect to source, but if we're not connected to our body, it's very difficult to live in a human experience. So now the journey is to reconnect from here down. And so I've been doing a lot of some studying on the womb, and I'll be eventually doing some more teaching on that. And just getting more grounded. I've completed a couple of courses with somatic training, and that's helped me come back into my body too. And I use that in my coaching right now, and I'm getting some really great feedback with the somatic work and how it's helping people come back into their to regulate their nervous system and to kind of come back to a calmer place connected to source so they can process their emotions. So that's been really amazing. It's helped me also. And so there's some beautiful new things happening. So perhaps being so connected to my intuition most of the time needed to take a pause so that I needed to resource my body again. And I don't know if anybody else has ever felt that way. And I would, I'll keep my eye out on the comments if you have felt that way. That are you being called to come back to your body? And I actually just enrolled in a new course, and I'm going to be learning a lot more. And so I'll be sharing about that, but not for a while. But yeah, so it's really important. And it could be really difficult, right? Because when you're out there in the ethers, those of you that are highly intuitive, sometimes it's a little bit easier. Like, there have been times where I'm like, why did I choose to come earthside? Because being on the other side is a lot more fun. But I'm committed to my mission. And my mission is to bring light and love back to this world, and also to transmute a lot of the experiences that I've had back into love and into purpose. And when I look at my human design and my gene keys, that's actually what I was built for. So I picked a big mission, which sometimes I'm like, WTF, why did I do that? That was a lot more than I can chew sometimes. And a lot of people don't get it yet. So I guess being in the beginning sometimes is difficult. So, but very satisfying once you get through to the other end. So I keep doing it. And so my challenge right now is, how can I alchemize certain things that I've experienced into love? I've learned how to live in love frequency. I've learned how to shift my way of being from a lower vibration into a higher vibration. But now the next level is connecting to experiences that I've had. And I still see things as energy and vibration. And how can I shift some of those things into love frequency? And that really takes forgiveness. And what I've taught my students and my one-on-one clients both is that, number one, you don't rush forgiveness, and number two, you don't force forgiveness. But the one thing I do ask is for you to ask yourself, are you willing to forgive? Because if you're not willing to forgive, then that's it. That's the steel wall. That's your glass wall, glass ceiling, right? That's it. You can't go any higher. But if you're willing to forgive, then there's no limitation. And forgiveness doesn't mean that what happened is okay. It just means you get to set yourself free. And I can't even say that I have fully forgiven everything yet. And that's hard to say in public as a teacher. But I am willing. And so I keep coming back to that and asking myself, like, where does unforgiveness live? Because all the things that I thought I have let go of, every time I go to the next layer of my healing, I realize there's still remnants there. But that comes from telling myself the truth, right? So, like in class tonight at Reiki Crystal Meditation, we were talking about fear. And so a lot of times when there's uncertainty, we generate fear. And when I say we, I'm talking as a collective, us as human beings. We might, when things are uncertain, we feel fear. And sometimes we might shy away instead of walking into the fear. So the idea is to build that resilience. I'm wondering if I should stop here. um, I'm just seeing what's coming through. So the whole idea is to keep coming back to the body, which is what you saw me just do, right? My hands on my heart, take a deep breath, and feel into my body. And the next thing will come, right? So the work right now is to stay in your body. And even if there's fear, even if there's uncertainty, even if you don't know the solution to the thing that you are involved in right now, and even if you are having a springtime of your life and a summertime of your life where things are falling into place and things are amazing, still come back into your body, right? So that you can fully feel it, savor it, enjoy it, feel the pleasure of it. And so I feel the work on the earth right now is, yes, it's intuition, but now let's take it a little deeper into intuition in the body and feeling into your body and staying in your body instead of leaving and just going out there. So I'm going to invite some feedback. I would love to hear how this is landing, even if this is on the replay. And also, I'm going to invite you to ask me questions about things that you'd like me to share about, because I've given myself this challenge. So it's for me, but I am doing this in public, so it's for you too. And so I'm just kind of free-forming it right now. And I think what I might do is I might write a couple of things out so that I can give a little bit more of, not go off on so many tangents. And so I'd love to hear from you guys how things are landing and things that you'd like to hear about. The other thing that's coming through is to invite you all to use your voices too. I think I shared in a previous video that I never, ever saw myself as somebody who was going to speak in public. And I do credit Muktananda, who was one of my coaches, who encouraged me and took me through some somatic work to use my voice in a way that was powerful. And I mean physically using my voice. What I teach people is more about how to use your voice, meaning expressing your truth. And, and I think this is relevant too. There were so many years where I didn't like the sound of my voice when we had answering machines. Some of you will remember, and some of you will be like, oh, what is that? You can Google it. But I used to hear myself on an answering machine, or if I recorded myself on a cassette, I would feel like cringe to hear my voice. And I realized that dates back to my voice used to get made fun of. My own father used to make fun of my voice. And so I became very conscious of it. But what's happened over time, as I've learned to use my voice and as I've learned to speak from the womb, like from the soul of myself, I no longer feel that way. In fact, I have a lot of pre-recorded meditations that I've created for my one-on-one program, and I listen to them for myself. The sound of my own voice is comforting, and I have had feedback from other people that my voice is comforting for them or healing for them. And so my prayer is that even if I'm going off on tangents and some of this is like where is she going with this? I'm just hoping that you'll receive some golden nuggets and also receive the healing through the codes of my voice. So even though I might go off on tangents and certain things might sound like, what is she talking about? I am clear that I'm here to speak for a reason, to bring healing. I come from light, and I'm sharing light intentionally. I've come into this world to move through some very big obstacles, like many of you. And I keep standing up to speak and share, even on days that it feels like very wobbly. And on days when it feels great, heck yeah, let's go for it. So, I think I will wrap it up now. And I will say thank you for any of you that have watched. I saw you, Corey. Thank you, Lauren and Lorianne. And some of you other guys that I'm not sure who you are, but thank you for being here. And just sending so much love and light and gratitude for sharing this space with me. And I hope that sharing my experience you'll see a little bit of yourself in me, and that you can do things messy. That's how I'm doing it right now. I'm doing it messy. I'm sitting in the bed. I have nothing scripted. I went off on several tangents, and who the F cares? Because I'm committed to 30 days of online on social media, and I'm going to do it. Regardless, it's 11:19 p.m. It's almost the end of the day. I got it in today, and I know as this goes along, it's going to be a little bit more clear what gets channeled through. So thanks for cheering me on. I hope that you learned something too through this, and I'm going to bring in some more teachings as this starts to evolve. That's what's coming through. All right, sending lots of love, light, and power. Be yourself, show up, bring your open heart, and just, I appreciate you. Good night, everyone.